Hi friends, welcome to Avi's Academy. In our previous video, that is illustration 2, where we have looked into a problem that can be solved using arithmetic mean method. So that is to calculate Carr-Pearson's correlation of coefficient. Actual mean method or arithmetic mean method is used when the values of x and variables, the mean values of x and variables are not fractional value. Nothing but if the mean is a whole number or an integer, we use actual mean method to calculate correlation coefficient, Carr-Pearson's correlation coefficient. But in calculating that, we have found a difficulty when we had a bigger number, because our y variables were slightly bigger numbers. We found it difficult to calculate the correlation coefficient using actual mean method. So if that is the situation, and another condition is, what if we get a mean value which is a fractional value, not an integer value? So how do we address that situation? So to address that situation, we use a different approach to calculate Carr-Pearson's correlation coefficient, and that approach we are discussing in this video. So I welcome you all to Avi's Academy for our third illustration, where we are discussing about actual mean method. No, we are looking at another mean method which is called as assumed mean method, which is used when the mean values of x and y variables are fractional values. So let's have a look at our illustration. So in our illustration, they have asked us to calculate correlation coefficient by Carr-Pearson's method, and they have given two variables. The variables are cost, which is expressed in 1000, and overheads, which is expressed in 1000. Okay, cost and overhead ka information now they have given. So as a commerce student, we know cost and overhead, or overhead and cost, are having direct relation, because if you increase your overhead, the total cost of production will definitely increase. So we need to get positive correlation, but let's see whether it is true for the given data. So that is what we are going to see here. So these are our values. So let us calculate correlation coefficient using assumed mean method. So but before that, let's see how to calculate correlation coefficient using assumed mean method. Nothing but let's see our formula. So here correlation coefficient, which is expressed as R, is equal to n into sigma dx into dy, d subscript y, minus sigma d subscript x into sigma d subscript y, or you can say dx dy, divided by root of, so which is almost similar to our previous equation, n into sigma dx square minus sigma dx whole square into, now this is x ka part, now we are writing the same thing with y ka part, n into sigma dy square minus sigma dy whole square. So this is the equation to calculate correlation coefficient. That means in order to calculate correlation coefficient, we need few values. So if you see here, you need dx, you need dy, then you need dx, you will get it there, dy is there, and then you need dx square, dx is here, dy square. So these are the values you need. We know what is x and y. So as I said, we usually take, while calculating correlation coefficient, first value as x, second value as y. You can take otherwise also, because correlation coefficient is symmetric in nature, so it doesn't affect the value in any means. But this is x and y, then what is this d and d here, what they have given? This is nothing but deviations from some values, and that some value is assumed mean. In arithmetic mean method, we take actual mean as and then we calculate the deviation from the given values. Instead of actual mean, in this method we use assumed mean. We take one of these values as mean, then we calculate that deviation, and that deviation is called as d. So here dx stand for deviation of x values from its mean, that is assumed mean. Similarly for y, so that is what D stands for in this case. So this is our formula, we need to calculate these values. So let's do that. So we will be taking one of the value as x, so we'll take first value as x, second value as y. So that means we need to calculate what is dx, right? So we need dx. So dx is equal to x minus a, nothing but assumed mean. Okay, so I will write x minus a. So this is the first value we need, and then we need now dy we need, right? So this is dy, this is y minus, so this is y from its assumed mean. One of these values we are taking as assumed mean, so that deviation we have to calculate, and after that we have to multiply dx and dy. So we will be considering that also, dx dy. The total of this column will be equal to sigma dx dy. N we already know, this is number of observations. So n stands for 6 here. Okay. Next we need dx is already there, dy is already there. Then we need dx square. So this is another value we need. Dx we will calculate here. We will be squaring up these values. That will be named as dx square. Then we need another value which is dy square. So these are the values we need to calculate separately. So let's do that now. Now let us start our calculation. Before that, I said assumed mean method is used when x or y values have fractional mean values. So at that time we generally use assumed mean method. We can use any time, no issue, but the specific situation under which assumed mean method is applied when x and y values ka or x or y values ka actual mean value is a fraction. Let's see whether that situation holds true in this problem. Okay, I'll take only x ka variable. If you take x ka variable 15, the values are given. If you are adding it up, 15 plus 19 is 34, 34 plus 16 is 50, 50 plus 19 is 69, 69 plus 17 is equal to 86, 86 plus 18, that is equal to 104, right? So 104 is our value total. So we know x bar is equal to total, that is sigma x divided by number of observation. So this is our number of observation, which is 6. So if I calculate the mean here, this will be equal to 6 ones are, and here we have 4, this is 44, this is 6 sevens are 42. That means we have another 2. That means if you add up 0, that will be around 17.3333. Yeah. So this is the actual mean, right? So in actual mean method, what we do next, we calculate the deviation of x values from x bar. So x bar is 17.33. If you take the first case, 15 x minus x bar, there we are taking. So 15 minus 17.33, if you take, you will get minus 2.333, right? If you take two fractional digits, that is also okay. But calculation of square of these values or multiplying these fractions with the other values, it will be a difficult task if you do not have calculator. Even if you have calculator also, you will find this as a difficulty in calculating. So to avoid all these problems, we can use assumed mean method where you do not get any fractional values. We can ensure that we do not get any fractional values because we are taking one of these values as assumed mean. So let's do that. Let's start our actual calculation now. So I said we do not require sigma x, sigma y. So we need not total this up. That difficulty also gone. Now coming back to here, we need dx. dx stands for x minus a, assumed mean. So one of the values will become assumed mean. So you can take any value as assumed mean. You can take 15 as assumed mean. You can take 19 as assumed mean. You can take 16 as assumed mean, any value. But what happens if you want to simplify your calculation further? It is better to take the least value as assumed mean. Generally what we do, we take middle value as assumed mean. That's what we used to do since a long time. To make the problem more simpler, where we do not get any negative value, to ensure we do not get any negative value, what we can do is we can take the least value among the given values as assumed mean. So that will completely take out the chance of getting a negative value, so that we can easily do our further calculation. Otherwise you can take any value as assumed mean. So what I'll do is I'll take the least value as assumed mean. Let's see how we do not get a negative value in that case. So here the least value is 15. So I'll be taking 15 as assumed mean. I'll write here assumed mean just for examination sake, assumed mean of x, okay, assumed mean of x which is equal to a, okay, that is equal to, I'll be taking it as 15, okay, this I'll write and then I'll substitute here. So now first value x is 15, 15 minus a we assumed as 15, so 15 minus 15 which is equal to 0, 19 minus 15 which is equal to 4, 16 minus 15 which is equal to 1, 19 minus 15 again this is equal to 4, 17 minus 15 this is equal to 2, 18 minus 15 this is equal to 3. See here we don't get any negative value because we take the least value as assumed mean and that is deducted from the x values. So therefore we do not get any negative value. So this will be simpler. Adding this also not a difficulty for you because this is simple single digit number. So add it up. So this will be 5, 9, 11, 14. So sigma dx is equal to 14. Next same here in the case of y variable which is overhead. So here you have to take one of the value as assumed mean. So I'll write here assumed mean of y which is equal to a. I'll take the least value again. So that is 80 here. I'll be taking 80 as the least value. Okay. Now I'll calculate. So 80 which is y here. Y minus a is also assumed mean is also 80. So 80 minus 80 is 0. Next 90 minus 80 which is 10, 100 minus 80 which is equal to 20, 110 minus 80 this is equal to 30, 120 minus 80 40, 130 minus 80 is 50. Now we will add this up to get sigma d subscript y. Okay, so 10 plus 20 30, 30 plus 30 60, 60 plus 40 is 100, 100 plus 50 is 150. Again you don't require a calculator, you can use it, no issue. Next dx dy. Now we have to multiply dx with the dy and we will be writing that here. So let's do that. 0 into 0, you know this, 0, 4 into 10 which is 40, 20 into 1 which is 20, 4 into 30 which is 120, 2 into 40 that is 2 4s are 8 and then the 0 which is 80, 3 into 50 which is 150. You need to add this up. You can still avoid calculator, but if you want to use calculator you can do that. 40 plus 20 60, 60 plus 120 is 180, 180 plus 80 is 260, 260 plus 15 is 410. Okay, so this is our total 410 sigma dx dy. Next we need dx square. Dx is here, we need to square these values, then we need to write here. So let's do that now. So 0 square, we know it is 0, 4 square which is again you know 16, 1 is equal to 1, 4 square again 16, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9. So we will add this up now. Sigma dx square which is 16 plus 1 17, 17 plus 16 is 33, 33 plus 4 is 37, 37 plus 9 is 46. Okay, now the last value. Now if you we need to square the dy square. Dy is here, we need to square it up. So 0 square, you already know it is 0. 10 square, you know this, again it is 100. Next 20 square. 20 square, use your calculator, or else what we can do is, we know what is 2 square, right? 2 into 2 is 4. Here we have single 0. When we square it up, we take 2 zeros. So that will be 0, 400. Same thing here, 1 square is 1, then the next 2 0 for the square. Okay, similarly here. Now you can easily calculate, this is 900, this is 1600, this is 2500 or 2500. Okay, these are our values. We will be adding this up, so that is equal to this. Again, if you want a calculator, you can use it, or else again you can add this up. 100 into 400, 500, 500 plus 900 is 1400, 1300, 1300 plus 1600 is 2900, 2900 plus 2500 is 5400. So these are the values which we need to calculate correlation coefficient, or to substitute these values with our formula. So let us do that now. We have our values here. I have left it as it is. Remaining values I have already rubbed. So let's go for our calculation. So where r is equal to, we have already written that equation, n into sigma dx dy minus sigma dx into sigma dy divided by root of n into sigma dx square minus sigma dx whole square into, now for y, n into sigma dy square minus sigma dy whole square. Okay, so this is how we are calculating correlation coefficient. Now I'll substitute these values. The values that are required to substitute with this equation are, we need sigma dx dy, which we have already calculated, which is 410. Then we need sigma dx, which is 14. Sigma dy we need, which is 150. Then we need n is number of observation, that is 6. Then we need sigma dx square, which is 46. Then we need sigma dx whole square. Sigma dx, as I said earlier, which is 14. We have to find out the square of 14. Then that is multiplied with n, which is 6 again. Sigma dy square, which is 5500. I made a mistake initially while calculating. I said it was 5400. It is actually 5500. That correction I have made before. Now then we need sigma dy ka square. Sigma dy is 150. We need to find the square of that value. So these are the values that are required. Now let me substitute all these values with our equation of correlation coefficient. After substitution, it will look like this. Sigma 6 into 410 minus 14 into 150 divided by root of 6 into 46 minus 14 square into 6 into 5500 minus 150 square. So now if we are calculating these values, so it will be equal to 6 into 410, that is equal to 2460, 14 into 150, that is equal to 2100, 6 into 46, that is equal to 276, 14 square is 196, 5500 into 6 is 33,000, 150 square is 22,500. So this is the values that we have got. Let us proceed with our calculation. First, let us find out the difference between 2460 and 2100, which is equal to 360 divided by 276 minus 196, that is equal to 80, into 33,000 minus 22,500, that is equal to 10,500. Let us proceed again. Now 360 divided by root of 80 into 10,500, that is equal to 8,40,000, we need to find the square root of 8,40,000. So let us calculate next. So it will be 360 divided by square root of 8,40,000, which is equal to 916.52. With this, we can arrive at the final value which we need, which is correlation coefficient, that is equal to 360 divided by 916.52, which is equal to plus 0.3928. So 0.3928 is the correlation coefficient between the cost and overheads values which are given in this problem. So based on this relation, if you have to interpret, you will say there exists a positive moderate correlation between cost and overhead. So this is how you can interpret. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you like the video, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel by clicking subscribe button. If you want to share the video, you can share the video, because you can learn to share and share to learn. If you want to get continuous notification, click the bell icon there. And if you have any comments, doubts, clarification, please write here. Thank you once again. Thank you all.